भक्तिपाशदृढबन्धननिष्कलशं प्रलयगोडिसदान्तरेऽपि सर्वस्य चौर हृदयन्न हि मोचयामि तं कृष्ण सदा हृदये प्रलयगोडिसदान्तरेऽपि सर्वस्य चौर हृदयन्न हि मोचयामि तं कृष्ण
Krishna Govardhan Giridas Prabhuji, welcome back again.
सर्वस्य चौर हृदयन्न हि मोजयामि व्रजे प्रसीदं नवनीतचौरं गोपाङ्गनानां च दुकूलम्
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams. Welcome back to Kanaya Desh.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you.
Another 2 more minutes, Prabhuji.
Sure, Prabhu. Phone அடிக்குது. I think என்னோட phone அடிக்குது. என்னோட phone.
Hare Krishna. Welcome all devotees for our Purushottam month Srimad Bhagavatam Sravanam. Today we are entering to the 12th day. So we will be hearing from Canto 4, chapter 24 to 31. And for today we have very fortunate to have His Grace Govardhana Giri Das Prabhuji with us from Trivandrum. Prabhuji ka introduction is not required because we already heard from Prabhuji a lot of classes now. So directly we will welcome Prabhuji by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra 3 times. Please all together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Govardhan Giridhari Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Please, you can
You can start.
proceed. Yes,
Thank you.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tatho Jayamudirayed Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Lankhayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Mande Sri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So today we are in the 4th canto. We shall try and speak on subject matters covered in chapters 24 to 31. Maitreya and Vidura's Samvad. Hare Krishna. So the Samvad between Vidura and Maitreya is continuing, and they are talking about the lineage of Dhruva Maharaj, and now Maitreya Muni is speaking to Vidura about the sons of Maharaja Prithu. That is where the 24th chapter is starting, and he speaks about the eldest son of Maharaja Prithu, who is named Vijitashva, and he was as great a personality as Prithu Maharaj himself, and because he pleased Lord Indra, he also got a title Antardhana. And this King Antardhana or Vijitashva, he first married Shikhandini. Of her, he got 3 sons who were actually personalities of Agni, named Pavaka, Pavamana, and Shuchi. And these 3 personalities, by engaging in yogic practices, they went back to their original situation as again personalities of fire or as Agni. And then Antardhana's another wife named Nabhaswati. From Nabhaswati, Antardhana begets a son called Havirdhana, and this Havirdhana married and had 6 children, the eldest of whom was called as Barhishat. Barhishat is our hero for these chapters, basically. So the narration is coming directly to Barhishat. Also, Havirdhana had another 5 sons named Gaya, Shukla, Krishna, Satya, and Jitavrata. Now, this Barhishat was a great king. He was an emperor and an expert in conducting yajnas. And he was ruling the earth, a great kingdom, for so many years, for many, many years, that he came to be known as Prachina Barhishat, meaning he has been there for such a long time. And this Barhishat was ordered by Brahma to marry the daughter of Samudra named Shatadruti. And the Shatadruti was so beautiful that even during the marriage, Agni, in marriage, Agni is the Sakshi. And it is said that Agni himself wanted to marry her. She was so beautiful. So this Shatadruti is the wife of Barhishat. And from her, Prachina Barhishat begot 10 sons. And these 10 sons together are known as the Prachetas. And these Prachetas are very great devotees, great personalities, So Prachina Barhishat asked his 10 sons, Prachetas, that you must get married and beget children. So Prachetas, in order to fulfill the requirement or the order given by their father, they will decide to go to the ocean and engage in tapasya for 10,000 years so that they can perfect themselves to enter Grihasthashrama. You see? So this is what we see in the Vedic culture, that even to enter Grihasthashrama, great personalities would undergo certain penances, certain tapasyas in order to get into a frame where you will become a proper good Grihastha. It is not as if in Kali Yuga that Grihasthashrama means it is some license for unlimited or unregulated sense gratification, So here we see the Prachetas are going towards the ocean to do tapas. So on their way, they will meet Lord Shiva. So when Maitreya says this, immediately Vidura will ask Maitreya, it is very difficult for anybody to have darshan of Lord Shiva, to meet him, because he is such an exalted person and he is always engaged in his service in a very unique way. So how is it that they actually saw Lord Shiva, and how it happened? So Maitreya Muni was describing that the Prachetas had taken their father's order very, very seriously. And they had made up their mind, they were Dridavratas, that we have to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, for at least 10,000 years in order to improve ourselves and, engage in our service in the best manner possible. So for that, they were going towards the ocean. So on their way towards the ocean, they see a huge lake. It's a very beautiful, expansive lake where there are a lot of blue lotus flowers, a lot of red lotus flowers, and a lot of beautiful birds are there flying around. And on the banks of this huge lake, there are a variety of beautiful trees and a lot of creepers and flowers. And, it is a totally transcendental looking lake. So the Prachetas were naturally very attracted towards that lake, and they were moving towards that lake. At that time, they heard some drums beating, some kartal playing like that. They got some sounds, So their attention was completely attracted towards that lake. So as they were looking towards the lake, they saw Lord Shiva and his associates emerging out of that lake. Lord Shiva was coming out of that lake and he was looking so wonderful, flanked by his associates. And as soon as the Prachetas saw Lord Shiva, they immediately offer their dandavats and they are glorifying Lord Shiva. And so Lord Shiva sees them and he becomes very, very pleased. So he will say that I know that you are Prachetas and I know the purpose of your travel, the mission that you have undertaken is to please Lord Vishnu. So Lord Shiva says that, Yapparam Brahmasa Sakshat Triguna Jiva Samkhitat Bhagavantam Vasudevam Prapanna Sa Priyohime. Lord Shiva says, any person who is surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, who is the controller of everything, the material nature as well as the living entity, such a person is very dear to me. So Shiva says that as I understand that you are going to worship Lord Vishnu, Bhagavantam Vasudevam, Prapanna Sa Priyohime. So Srila Prabhupada points out here that Lord Shiva actually loves devotees of Lord Vishnu more than he loves his own devotees. Why? Because here in the Bhagavata Shloka, we hear it from the lotus mouth of Lord Shiva himself that Bhagavantam Vasudevam Prapanna Sa Priyohime. Such a person who is Prapanna, who is surrendering to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavantam Vasudevam. So he says, you all are very, very dear to me. And because you are very, very dear to me, and because you are undertaking a very important undertaking, I shall teach you one prayer. And using this stuti, you can please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then this wonderful prayer called Rudra Gita is in this 24th chapter of the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, starting from verse 33 till verse 68 is called Rudra Gita, the stuti of Lord Shiva to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Jitamta Atma Vidvarya Swastyaye Swastirastu me Bhavatara Dasharadham Sarvasma Atmane Namaha. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, all glory is unto you. You are the most exalted of all self-realized souls. Since you are always auspicious for the self-realized, I wish that you be auspicious for me. You are worshipable by virtue of all the perfect instructions that you give. You are the super soul, therefore I offer my obeisances unto you as the supreme living being. And Lord Shiva goes on to continue glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nama Pangajanabhaya Bhuda Sukshmendriyatmane Vasudevaya Shantaya Kutastaya Swarochishe. My Lord, you are the origin of the creation by virtue of the lotus flower which sprouts from your navel. You are the supreme controller of the senses and sense objects, and you are also the all-pervading Vasudeva. You are the most peaceful because of your self-illuminated existence. You are not disturbed by the 6 kinds of transformations. Like this, in the choicest of poetry, Lord Shiva, with his Rudra Gita, he is instructing the Prachetas. And Lord Shiva, in very wonderful poetry, he speaks about the Chaturvyuha of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He speaks about how, the Chaturvyuha is presiding deities of consciousness, ego, intelligence, and mind. He is also offering prayers to the deities of the senses and describes the beautiful form of the Supreme Personality of God. So like that, Lord Shiva does a wonderful stuti of Lord Vishnu, and then he tells the Prachetas, he will tell them that you chant this prayer, and chanting this prayer, you can propitiate the Supreme Personality of Godhead and attain perfection like that. So the Prachetas, they immediately pay obeisances to Lord Shiva and they will proceed to the ocean. They will enter the ocean and staying underwater for 10,000 years, they chant the prayers given by Lord Shiva. So the Prachetas are accepting Lord Shiva as their spiritual master and they are accepting the prayer that is taught by Lord Shiva to them, and using that prayer, they are worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is a wonderful example of how we accept prayers of exalted personalities as all in all. In Srimad Bhagavatam, we will find there is Rudra Gita, we will find there is Kunti Stuti, we will find that there is Bhishma Stuti, we will find that there is prayers of Lord Brahma to Lord Krishna. So like this, there are wonderful prayers spoken by great personalities, stutis sung by great personalities out of their realization. And such prayers are all considered to be highly potent in order to please the Supreme Lord Vishnu. Therefore, Acharyas are recommending that we should always take prayers from Srimad Bhagavatam and other great Shastras, because great personalities, the prayers spoken by the great personalities, that is full of bhava, that is full of surrender, and they have no other business except to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They have no other business except to serve Bhagavan. So such prayers are very, very potent. They cannot be compared to some songs sung by any material person, because material songs, even the so-called material devotional songs, may be very melodious, may be set in very good raga, and they may have very good rhyming verses and all those things, but they will not have the depth of the realization when it is compared to the prayers of Rudra, or compared to prayers of Brahma, or compared to prayers of Kunti Devi, because these are all great personalities who have realized. They actually have self-realization, they also have Bhagavan realization. So their prayers are very, very potent. And the narration is continuing, Maitreya and Vidura. So while his sons are engaging in 10,000 years of tapas, Prachina Barhi is engaging himself in various kinds of yajnas for material prosperity. So at that time, Narada Muni, who is the savior of many a soul, comes to meet Prachina Barhishit. Because after all, Prachina Barhishit is coming through the parampara of great devotees. So Narada Muni is coming now to shower his mercy on Prachina Barhishit. And so he is engaging in these yajnas. So Narada Muni sees that he is very busy organizing all these things. So Narada Muni will ask him, what do you think you are going to get out of these things? You are thinking that all these things are going to give you something very big. All these meaningless yajnas you have conducted, and you have given bali of, you have sacrificed so many innocent animals just for you to get some name, fame, and material gratification. So like this, Narada Muni is chastising him and also advising him. So Prachina Barhi says, see, I have been doing this for so many years. And I am used to this now. And somehow, I think this is the way to do things. And I've been doing pretty okay, So then, he says, although I know that this may not be the best thing, but I'm unable to give up all these things. So he will request Narada Muni that, can you do something? Can you help me? please help me how I will overcome this particular situation of mine. So Narada will tell him, okay, I will tell you a story, to make you better understand the situation. So like this, Narada will start talking to Prachina Barhishit about a story about a king called Puranjana. And this chapter 25 of the fourth canto, 25, 26, this section is called the Puranjana Upakhyanam. That means also this is actually the only made up story in the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. Everything else in the Purana, in this Purana is history. This is a story. Okay, there is a big difference between history and story. Although the so-called Indic scholars would like us to believe that these are all stories, but we understand from the self-realized Acharya Srila Prabhupada that these are all history. And within history, this is one story told by Narad Muni to Prachina Barhishit in order to make him understand the facts of life. So this whole Puranjana Upakhyanam is all about. So Narad Muni will tell Barhishit that, once there was a very big king, his name was Puranjana. And Puranjana had a friend named Avijñata. Avijñata means unknown. So this Puranjana was looking for a city to go and inhabit, So he was traveling like that on the foothills, he will come towards Himalayas. In that Bharatavarsha, he will find a wonderful city, called the Navadwarapura. And that city has got, it has got so many huge buildings, it has got gardens, it has got rivulets, it has got tanks, it has got, and it is very well guarded, like this. So Puranjana will decide, okay, now I will accept this place, and this place is called Navadwarapura. Narad Muni is telling Barhishit. So he wants to settle down in this Navadwarapura. So while he was wandering through the gardens of the city, he sees one woman, a most beautiful woman, she is very attractive, and she is walking alone. And she is guarded by a 5-hooded serpent. And she is attended by 11 servants. So she is coming, walking very carelessly like that. And the moment Puranjana sees her, he will become very attracted to her. So he will go and speak very sweet words to her and somehow cajole her. She will say, I am looking for a husband who is suitable for me. And she says, I am the queen of this city and I am guarded by this. And there is a huge serpent that is guarding my Navadwarapura city. And I am looking for a suitable husband, like that. So then Puranjana somehow, using sweet words, he manages to convince her that he is the man to get married. So like that, Puranjana, her name is Puranjani, and they are married, and they live in that city for 100 years. And Narad Muni tells Prachina Barhishit that Puranjana is so attached to Puranjani. When she drank liquor, he also drank liquor. When she dined, he dined with her. When she was chewing, he was chewing along. When she sang, he sang, When she cried, he cried. When she danced, he danced. Like that, everything what the queen was doing, Puranjana was following. So like that, he was satisfying the queen, and he was also feeling very, very satisfied. So like this, they were living. And one day, king suddenly had an urge to go hunting. He wanted to leave the Antapura and he wanted to go hunting. So then he will take his bow and arrow and he will take his chariot. He will go to the forest and indiscriminately he will kill so many animals. By evening, he will feel very tired and then he'll come back to the palace and he will get freshened up, wearing fresh clothes and everything. Evening he is already feeling very energetic. Then he is going looking for his wife. And then the maid servants will tell him that actually the queen is very, very angry as she has taken out all her makeup and she is lying down on the floor in her antapura, like that. And then Puranjana will go, and he will speak, he will take her on his lap, he will speak very wonderful words, and he will say that, I am a soul surrendered to you, you should accept me, etc., etc., etc. And he will literally beg her to get some sense enjoyment. So she also obliges, and like that, he has 1,100 sons begotten from Puranjani. Who? Puranjana. And he is living like that. He has sons, he will marry off his sons, and they have sons, so sons, grandsons, huge family Puranjana has got. While all these things are going on, Puranjana continues to worship Devatas for material gains. At that time, when Puranjana is in his Navadwarapura like this, a Gandharva king named Chandavega, he has an army of 360 powerful Gandharva soldiers and another 360 Gandharvinis. So they will lay siege to Navadwarapura. Chandavega and 720 troops will come and lay siege on Navadwarapura. So the queen's serpent, who is the guard of Navadwarapura, for 100 years, this guarding serpent will fight all alone against this 360 plus 360 army. So this is going on, and Puranjana is seeing that the Navadwarapura has been attacked, and although he has got all these wives, children, everybody, and all these things, but he is unable to ward off this attack. What about what to speak of counter-attacking? He is not even able to defend. Somehow the serpent is defending. While this is going on another side, Narada Muni says that there was this daughter of Jara called Durbhaga. She was looking for a suitable husband, but her name being Durbhaga means bad luck, and she's a daughter of Jara. So Durbhaga is looking for a husband, and at that time she happens to meet Narada Muni, and then Durbhaga will ask Narada Muni, would you be my husband? I think you are a suitable husband for me. So Narada Muni will say, no, I don't get into this husband business at all. I am not into this, this is not my realm of action. So he says that I can actually suggest you, I can suggest the Yavana king, Yavaneshwara, I think you should marry him. He will be a very good match for you. So then she'll get very angry. She will curse Narada. He will say that, because you refuse to marry me, you can never stay in one place for more than this number of narikas, like that. So Narada Muni says, he tells Prachinambar, he says, this Jara only, she only has given me this shapa, that I cannot stay in one place for too long. Like that. And then she'll go to the Yavaneshwara, whose name is Bhaya. So he will say, I cannot marry you, you are like my sister. So you can marry my brother called Prajwara. So like that, Jara will marry Prajwara. And then the Yavana army also, they will start going on attacking various cities, capture various cities. And they will also reach Navadwarapura, Puranjana city. And together, the Gandharvas and the Yavanas, led by Prajwara and uh, Jara, Durbhaga, sorry. So they all attack together, and the city is under siege, not able to do anything. So Puranjana is thinking that all these are my relatives, my wife is there, my children are there, my grandchildren are there, and all their connections are there. And he simply does not want to leave Navadwarapura. You know, because Narad Muni says that he had only thoughts of aham mameti, me and mine, me and mine. He was thinking like this. But the attack is becoming stronger. He has no choice but to leave. And to his great misfortune, Narad Muni says that even he could not remember his one and only friend Avijnata when he was forced to leave the city. So what happens? Puranjana has to leave the city, and then he will be born again as the daughter of the king of Vidarbha, named as Vaidarbhi. So Puranjana becomes a woman in his next life, Narada Muni is explaining. And in that next life, as daughter of king of Vidarbha, she will marry Malayadwaja, who is actually a very dharmic person. And he will have sons, they will have sons, children, but he will hand over everything. And in the end, he wants to give up everything. He will concentrate his mind on the Supreme Personality of Godhead and give up his body. At that time, Vaidarbhi is sitting and doing massaging his feet. But suddenly she feels that the feet has gone cold. That means he has left his body. And he attains perfection and he goes. So she becomes very, very worried because her husband is lost. And then she will set up fire and she wants to enter that fire along with the husband. So at that time, that old Brahmana friend of Puranjana will come and he will explain, do you remember me? I am Avijnata. No? We used to be very old friends. And you think now you are Vaidarbhi. Are you really Vaidarbhi? Who is your father? And previously you thought you are Puranjana, husband of Puranjani. The fact is you are neither Vaidarbhi nor Puranjana. Because everything that you identified yourself with, you know, and he will tell, Avijnana will tell that actually I am Paramatma, I have been always there with you and you are Jivatma. We were always there together, but somehow you forgot me. So like this, Narada will tell Prachina Barhishit that, hey king, this is the story. And this story is meant for your self-realization. So Prajina Barhishit is like us, you know. So he will hear this whole story. So Narada Muni will say it is for your self-realization. So Barhishit says, Narada Muni, my intelligence is completely overtaken by material desires. And although you told a very wonderful story, I could not understand anything. Very typical. So the Narada Muni will say, doesn't matter. I will explain to you what I meant. You know. So this is a typical position of the materially conditioned living entity and the bona fide spiritual master. You know. So one instructing once is not enough, you know. But the bona fide spiritual master or the Adhyatmika Guru is very, very merciful. He will further explain it. He will further delineate it, you know, just like our Srila Prabhupada, you know. How many ever times he explained, he would still continue to explain the same point time and again. And in one lecture, Prabhupada says that repetition is necessary because intelligence is dull. So here we find Prachina Barhishit. He has accepted the role of a disciple. He tells Narada Muni that my brain is materially, you know, covered, so I can't understand. Then Narada Muni will say, he'll say, what I spoke about Avijnata is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Puranjana is the Atma. Puranjani is the intelligence. The serpent guarding the city of Navadwarapura is the living force. and the city Navadwarapura is nothing but the body. And Narada had already explained to him about the 9 gates. Then Narada Muni will explain that how they are the 9 holes in the body, like that. And then he'll say the 5-hooded serpent guarding the lady Puranjani was actually the 5 life heirs. And
Prabhuji, sorry. Can you please repeat what you said? Kindly, please. I'm sorry to disturb you. Can you please repeat what you said, Prabhuji?
Yeah. So Narada Muni is explaining to Prachina Barhishat that I will clear for you what I was trying to say. He says, the Avijñata that I spoke about in the story is none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And King Puranjana is none other than the Jivatma. And Navadwarapura is the body. And Puranjani, the woman he met, is intelligence. And the serpent guarding Navadwarapura is actually the living force. And the 5-hooded serpent who was, shading the Puranjani are the 5 life heirs. And the 10 attendants that she had, 10 people attending to her, were the 5 Karmendriyas and 5 Jnanendriyas. And the 11th attendant, who was like the chief attendant, is the mind, and then he goes on to explain the 9 gates. Narada Muni had explained in that story, 9 gates are 9 names he gives. This gate is situated, 2 are like this, 2 are on the side, 1 is in the bottom, 1 is at the, like that he had explained. So these are actually the 9 holes in the body. And then he says, Chandavega, the Gandharva, who waged war on Navadwara, is actually the powerful time. And his 360 soldiers are 360 days, and the 360 Gandharvinis are the 360 nights. And Yavana Raja is actually death, Bhaya. And this Durbhaga, also called as Kalakanyaka, she is old age. And Prajvara is a fever that comes just before death. It is either too hot or too cold. So Narada will say, this is what I was trying to tell you. And he says, the real interest of the living entity is to get out of the nescience that causes him to endure repeated birth and death. The only remedy is to surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead through his representative. Unless one renders devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, one cannot possibly become completely detached from this material world, nor can he possibly manifest real knowledge. So Narada will explain to Prachina Barhishat, hey, king, although you are materially so opulent, please try to understand that this is not the end of life. This is not the highest end that you should be looking at. He says that don't be ignorant to think that, these Vedic rituals are only for fruitive activity and to get some sense gratification. It is not the ultimate goal of life. And then he'll say, I will tell you another example, he says. He says, think of the deer in a forest with his wife, the beautiful deer and the beautiful she deer. They are happily eating grass. And when you look at it from that angle, they will look, both of them are looking very happy eating the grass. And he says, but if you view it, a little bit wider, you will see the tiger crouching right behind the deers, ready to pounce, which means death is imminent. But the 2 deers, the husband deer, because the wife deer is next to him and both are eating fresh grass, they think that they are very, very happy. They are very, very comfortable. And Narada Muni say, hey, Barhishwan, you are also in this same position. Don't think that this sense gratification, this physical sense gratification in household life is the ultimate in everything. Or thinking that, you can simply engage yourself in thinking of these things. He says, these are all things you have to give up, you know. And then Barhishman says, see, actually, these acharyas who taught me, they should have taught me this in the beginning. They did not tell me these things. But now all my doubts have been cleared, you know. So now I will do it. But then he says, the Vedic conclusion is that we are all enjoying or suffering the result of past activities. But he says, when I have given up my past body, then how will I accept all these things with another body? How is it possible? We will ask a question to Narad Muni. You know, so Narad Muni will say that the living entity, although he is changing body, the physical body, he has a subtle mental covering, you know, and that mental covering develops all kinds of thoughts and desires because they are all based on his previous experience. Narad Muni says, I am telling you, this is it, you know. This is how you are getting this connection from that body to this body. It says that you can never concoct anything in your mind which you have not perceived in a previous body. So this is very, very important instruction given by Narada, you know. So everything that we have, some propensity that we are showing in this lifetime, we should know that we have already had that perception in some other birth. In some other body, we have had it. That is why that keeps coming back to us strong again and again, you know. So Narad Muni says, you have to understand these things. You have to understand your position, understand the Supreme Lord's position, and you have to understand how you can be linked through the process of bhakti. You know. So Maitreya tells Vidura that this is how Narad Muni gave the ultimate knowledge to King Prachina Barhishat, who was so old, and his 10 sons were such exalted personalities. Still, he was so materially inclined. But by Narada Muni's mercy, Prachina Barhishat also could work towards perfection. You know. So like that, he says, and he says that Falashruti of this is anybody who hears this with rapt attention, they can actually get freed from the material body conception. Maitreya Muni tells Vidura. So then Vidura asks, okay, we spoke about the Prachetas, what did they do? You know, this is how the conversation continues. So Maitreya Muni says that they did tapas for 10,000 years. Lord Vishnu appears in front of them. And he'll say that because you have taken the instructions of Lord Shiva so seriously and done that stuti taught by Lord Shiva, I am very, very pleased. You know. And he says that because you have done this tapasya with a particular purpose, now I'll give you order that you marry this girl who is the daughter of the trees. She is actually being brought up by the trees, although she is the daughter of Kandu Muni and Pramlocha, one Apsara who came and had a child with Kandu Muni, and now she is being taken care of by the trees. So you should marry her and you should, you know, procreate the next generation. So at that time, the Prachetas, having taken darshan of Lord Vishnu, they will glorify Lord Vishnu with wonderful stutis. And one of the things they will say is that actually we have no more interest in this world of duality having seen you, you know. But they accept the instructions of Lord Vishnu because originally their intention was to propitiate Lord Vishnu and engage in proper varnashrama based on instruction from the Supreme Lord himself. So the Lord gives them that benediction, and Lord says that you marry this girl. So as they come out of the forest, they will see that the trees have grown all the way up to the sky, you know, and they are blocking their way completely. So the Prachetas will think, okay, now these trees are trying to act smart. And so, you know, in seconds, because they have so much of yogic power, having performed tapasya under the ocean for 10,000 years, you know, by one glance, they will start burning down all the trees down to ashes. Immediately, Brahmaji will arrive there and he will advise the trees Don't you know that this girl has to be given to these prachetas? Because they have to now create prajapatis and there has to be more praja. So like that, the trees will hand over that girl to them as their wife. And from that wife, she gives birth to a son named Daksha. So Daksha had to take from birth from the womb of Manisha due to his disobeying and disrespecting Lord Mahadeva. Consequently, he had to give up his body twice. So Daksha was created, rather born to the Prachetas. And then Maitreya Muni continues to tell Vidura that Prachetas then lived at home for thousands of years. They conducted, their kingly duties, and they developed perfect knowledge and spiritual consciousness. At last, they remembered the blessings of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and left home, putting their wife in charge of a perfect son. So they will entrust Daksha to the wife, and they will go on pilgrimage. On their way at the seashore, they will meet Jabali Muni and they will learn the rahasya of yoga, and by using that yogic practice while they are practicing pranayama in order to get yogic perfection, at that time Narada Muni will come there. So again you see how Narada Muni is, from the time of Dhruva we will see how Narada Muni is connected to this whole family lineage, and how time and again Narada Muni shows them mercy by which they are all attaining perfection. So Narada Muni is another irreplaceable example. We cannot give another example like Narada Muni anywhere in the Puranas where he has shown, he has had the brightest of disciples like Prahlada and Dhruva. He has also had some dull disciples like Prachina Barhishit, But whether the student is the brightest or the most dull, Narada Muni always delivers 100% results. Just like in modern education, you will find, the big schools which give 100% results, they will first of all take only very bright students. And then they will get them to get, good result, and then they will claim this is our. But Narada Muni, you see, is a perfect teacher. Even the dullest student he will accept, He will accept a student like Ratnakara and make him Valmiki. So this is actually delivering result. Prayojana of Guru is from Ratnakar to Valmiki. So Narada Muni is coming there. So Prachetas are saying, actually, we are very, very lucky to have seen you, because we spent so many thousands of years in this material life. Although, all those years ago, we had met Lord Shiva, he had given us a lot of instructions. And we had met Lord Vishnu himself, he had given us so many instructions, but now we have forgotten everything. So you please, please enlighten us. So Narada Muni again, he will enlighten them. He will say that a living entity is born to engage in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Supreme Controller. His birth, all his fruitive activities, his lifespan, his mind and his words are all factually perfect. So he will tell the Prachetas that you are actually very perfect people, because everything that you have done throughout your lives is actually executing the order of the Supreme Personality of God. And you have lived and you have acted based on the instructions given by the Supreme Personality of God. So he is glorifying the Prachetas, and also he is glorifying the greatness of Bhakti and how one should, worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because by propitiating Lord Sri Krishna, everything else is taken care of. So in this connection, in Narada Muni's instruction to Prachetas, we find one of Srila Prabhupada's favorite shlokas, Yatha taror moola nishechanena tripyanti tatskanda bhujopashakaha pranopaharacha yatendriyanam tathaiva sarvarhanam achyutejya. Just like when we pour water, yatha taror mula nishechanena. If you are taror mula, if you are actually pouring water to the root of the tree, what happens? Everything else, the trunk, the branches, the twigs, it will all get nutrition, just like when you are supplying food to the stomach, the rest of the body gets everything. Similarly, when you worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead through devotional service, it will satisfy everybody else. All the devatas are satisfied. And Narad Muni says that although the Supreme Personality of Godhead is self-sufficient, he becomes dependent on his devotees. He does not care for the goddess of fortune, nor for the kings and demigods who are after the favors of the goddess of fortune. Where is that person who is actually grateful and will not worship the personality of God? So Narad Muni is reminding everyone, that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he will act like he is a dependent on his devotees. Although Lakshmi is his servant. And everybody wants to become a servant of Lakshmi for the Aishwarya that she will give. But here this Lord, he doesn't care for her. He likes to become dependent on his devotees. And when you have a Lord like that, Narada Muni is saying, if there is a person who has got any gratefulness in him, such a person, why would he not worship the Supreme Personality? So like this, Narada Muni will instruct the Prachetas, and he will describe all the relationship between the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to the Prachetas, and afterwards, Narada Muni, he will go back to Brahmaloka. From hearing from Narada Muni's all the glories of the Lord, the Prachetas also, once again, their minds become attached to the Lord. So meditating on his lotus feet, they advance to the ultimate destination. So like this, Maitreya Muni will conclude his narration of the instructions given by Narada Muni to Prachetas. And he says that this conversation also describes the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is worshipped by the choicest of poetries, choicest of stutis, by great personalities. So in this section, we can see Rudra, Lord Shiva's stuti to Lord Vishnu. We can see Prachetas, when they actually have darshan of Lord Vishnu, their stuti to Lord Vishnu. Then when Narada Muni is speaking to Prachetas, explaining to them the science of devotional service, there also we will find Narada Muni glorifying the characteristics of the Supreme Lord. So all these sections are there in these chapters from 24 to 31, and then Shukadeva Goswami is continuing to tell Parikshit that I have now finished speaking about the descendants of the first son of Swayambhu Manu named Uttanapada. Shukadeva Goswami says, now we will speak about Priyavrata, the second son of Swayambhu Manu, and his descendants. So that will be subject matter in the 5th canto. So Shukadeva Goswami says like that. So then Vidura is telling Maitreya, okay, he's thanking Maitreya Muni that because you have given me all this information, by your causeless mercy, now I can see the path of moksha, by moksha, like that. So Shukadeva Goswami says, like this, Vidura offered obeisance to Maitreya and started to Hastinapura. So this is where that Vidura Maitreya Samvad gets over, and then Shukadeva Goswami will continue to speak to Parikshit Maharaj later on. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Srimad Bhagavatam Grantharaj ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Such a wonderful explanation on these chapters. So, anybody is having any questions, please you can proceed.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Dandavat pranams to you and all assembled here.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, as usual, it was wonderful flow of Bhagavatam. Thank you for that.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Prabhuji,
Yeah.
okay, the question I have is, you had mentioned that this, I forgot the name, the lady who curses Narada Muni because she wanted, Durbaga, she wanted to
Durbaga,
marry
yeah.
but
Yeah.
then Narada Muni reject, and then she curses that you will not have you'll keep wandering, with no place of proper residence. So I've heard that Narada Muni gets cursed by even Daksha Prajapati because he converts all the sons to become saintly and not entering into the household life, thwarting the
Yes, that is also
progeny process.
yes, that is also a curse received by Narada Muni. Narada Muni has actually got several curses. In several occasions, he gets several curses, and most of them are related to him converting people into devotees. So, but in this particular narration, Narada Muni himself is telling Prajina Barhi that, I got cursed by this lady called Durbaga. And finally, he also says that this is a story. You understand?
Yes.
So actually, and then he says that Durbaga is none other than old age. And Narada Muni will not accept old age. Understand? You see this is how the Narada Muni's explanation is like that. So we understand that old age tried to capture Narada Muni. Narada Muni said, nothing doing. I am not into this business. Why? Because, Ayur Harati Vaipumsam. By the sun rising and setting, a human being's Ayu is taken away. Ayur Harati of the people by the rising and setting of the sun, except those people who are always in spending their time in Uttama Shloka Chetasa.
Oh, wow.
That is there in the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. That shloka is there. That time factor does not act on those people who are constantly engaged in hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam.
Okay.
So whenever we are discussing Srimad Bhagavatam and the speaker and the listener, if they are wrapped in attention, that 1 hour or 1.5 hours is not considered in your Ayu, because that is at that time is not counted as per Srimad Bhagavatam itself. So as far as Narada Muni is concerned, his time is never counted because, these are all very logically you can understand these things,
Yes, Prabhuji, yes.
Because of that, he has no old age. Why? Because he is constantly speaking only about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Understand?
Very nice. Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Very nice.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any other question?
Hare Krishna,
Guruji, Hare Krishna.
Okay, please go ahead, Prabhuji.
Please go ahead, Prabhuji. Please go ahead. I'll finish after you, please.
Amadurjan Prabhuji, please go ahead.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
Dandavat pranam, Prabhuji, Govardhana Giri Prabhuji. See, basically, you had mentioned, first of all, the class was fantastic, as usual. You had mentioned that Puranjana is Atma and Puranjani is intelligence. Yeah. So here, how do we understand this? Because if one relies on his intelligence, then in what manner can we understand that they might get deviated from the path of self-realization, Prabhuji? That part is a bit confusing here. If you can please throw some light on that.
Actually, Jivatma, this is how the what you call the actual hierarchy should work like this. Jivatma should use his intelligence to control his mind and senses in order to move towards self-realization. So, for every Jivatma, intelligence is a very important ally for him. Okay, because intelligence is what will help you discriminate between what to do and what not to do. But if that intelligence is under the control of the mind, which is under the control of the senses, then everything goes ulta. The senses will desire something, the mind will recommend it to the intelligence, and the intelligence will appeal to me, the soul. So I will, very intelligently, I will, what shall I say? I will consider it, and then I will say yes. This is how sense gratification is being engaged in. You understand? So, a Jivatma who is not in the path of self-realization is always depending on his intelligence, which is actually served by these, Indriyas, and chief of whom is the mind. So, what is the result? Total disaster like what Puranjana is going through. So you will automatically become attached to everything that the body has, and then you will get attached, Puranjana going out for hunting. Prabhupada uses the term, Prabhupada uses that there is one type of hunting is also called woman hunting, Prabhupada says, which means when the intelligence is not properly situated, every man will go woman hunting, every woman will go man hunting. And this is the basic principle of the material world. So the intelligence, if it is not purified, you cannot have self-realization. So for intelligence to become purified and for mind to be controlled, one must practice yoga, which is, as far as we are concerned, Buddhi Yoga, which is Bhakti Yoga. By practicing that, we will clean our intelligence, we will free our mind from the control of the senses, and utilizing all these things in devotional service, we can actually move towards self-realization. This is how that formula should ideally work. I hope this clarifies it to some extent.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Very, very beautifully explained. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Govardhana Giri Prabhu. Although it is Hare Krishna, Prabhu, thank you very much for the wonderful narration. As usual, we are now habitually hearing the nectar from you in the same flow. Prabhuji, I think it is a bit late. Still, can I request to ask for a question?
Please.
Prabhuji,
Please.
about Daksha. Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Daksha. Prajapati Daksha was punished by Veerabhadra once. He was beheaded and given with the head of a goat. And after leaving the body with a goat, he took birth again with the son of Prajadas and Madhish. Okay, Prabhuji. So even that punishment itself was not sufficient or for him, and he had to take birth again. So it's offending Vaishnava.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. So although he lost his body and he died, and he was given a
again he had to be born again as the daughter of the Prachetas, I mean as the son of Prachetas again.
Oh, so I think we understand the seriousness of offending Vaishnavas.
Yes,
and taking in this
especially somebody like Lord Shiva, if you are finished.
Yeah, yes. No, although Lord Shiva's Kinger beheaded him, then he got the head of an animal. That itself is a punishment for a personality, such an exalted personality who is of such a higher platform like Daksha. Still,
yes, Daksha is a Prajapati. He is a very, very important person actually compared to us.
Yes. No, even that sufficient was not sufficient in the view of the Almighty Supreme Lord, and he was given birth again. So that is why.
Also, other point is that the more responsible you are, the mistakes you make will be taken more seriously. Just like at work. If you're head of the department, your mistake is highlighted more than the.
Yes.
No, so Daksha as a Prajapati is not supposed to do such mistakes, so.
Yes, Prabhuji, this is very much prominent about the punishments for policemen, no, Prabhu, law keepers.
Yeah, exactly.
As per the land rule of the land, their punishments
Yes.
are different.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Prabhu, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, this already late night for Prabhuji, so we will conclude here. Amalarjun Prabhu, can you do the vote of thanks?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Every single class is so nectarian, Prabhuji. So we thank you from our bottom of our heart. You are beautifully inspiring us, and you are making us closer to Srimad Bhagavatam. Is what I can summarize in my little knowledge and little words in terms of hearing your nectarian lectures. So thank you so much for coming to Kanyadesh and giving us this wonderful transcendental knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam. So please keep inspiring us, and we would like to be in touch with you always. To think maybe after the Purushottam month, maybe you can probably give us one exclusive class as to how to read Srimad Bhagavatam, how to understand the deep underlying concepts. If you can please give us some guidance, that will also be very helpful. That is our sincere request, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Thank you. So we will chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra for Prabhuji, for his spiritual progress, and to inspire millions of devotees across the globe. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna,
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 Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare Hare.
Hare Rama,
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Rama
Hare
Rama,
Hare.
Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare.
Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare.
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Rama,
Hare Rama, Rama
Rama
Rama, Rama, Hare Hare.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai Shri
Pancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa
Krishna
sindhurbhyeva cha
Sindhu Becha
patitanam
Patitanam
pavanebhyo
Pavanebhyo
vaishnavebhyo namo
Vaishnavebhyo
namaha.
Namo Namo
Ananta
Ananta
Kodi
Kodi
Vaishnavanta ki
Vaishnavanta
jai.
Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai
Prabhupada ki jai,
Shri
Guru Maharaj ki jai, Thai Gaura Premanande.
Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Purushottam Manth Ki Jai Sri
Jai.
Govardhana Giri Prabhu Ki Jai Hari Hari Bo. Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
We'll
Thank
meet,
you.
we'll meet day after tomorrow again.
Hare Krishna.
Tomorrow
Thank you.
we'll have Prajeshwar Gaur Prabhu from Mayapur for the rest of the chapters. So please join at 7 or 7 p.m. as usual. Thank you very much. We will proceed with the Arati. Sadananda Prabhu. Anil Prabhu will be the host today. Sadananda Shyam Prabhu, can you confirm? Haribol. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Sadananda Shyam Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu, audible?
Yeah, today Anil Prabhu will be the host, na?
Yeah, Anil Prabhu and Kirti Mataji.
Okay, okay. Already spotlight now, you can start, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Gopangananam chadukula chauram.
Gauragraganyam Purusham Namami.
अनेक जन्मार्जित पापचौरं चौराग्रगण्यं पुरुषं नमामि श्रीराधिकाय हृदयस्य चौरं नवाम्बुदश्यामलकान्तिचौरम् श्रीमानं च समस्तचौरं चौराग्रगण्यं पुरुषं नमामि निकृत्यपादाश्रितम् कृष्णचौरनिद्रे दृष्टजगत्त्रयेऽपि विहरस्य शेषं गिरिप्रसारणपि पराशिन् चौरैद्रे दृष्टमाय कापि तदेन्द्रियाणि सर्व एव धृतोऽद्यचौर त्वं भक्तिदाम्नासि मया पाशबन्धं सर्वस्य समस्तबन्धं कृतं तु बन्धम् मानसे तामसराशि हरे चिराय स्वचौर्यदोषोचितमेव दन्दम् कारागृहे वास सदा हृदये मदीये मद्विपाशदृढबन्धन निश्चलास्तान् त्वं कृष्ण हे प्रलयकोटिशतान्तरेऽपि सर्वस्य चौरा हृदयान्न हि मोचयामि सर्वस्य चौरा हृदयान्न हि मोचयामि
Hare Krishna
कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे
Hare Ram Hare Ram
राम
Ram
राम
Ram
हरे हरे
Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Radha Rasi Hari Radha Rasi Hari Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Sri Radhe. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Devam Vishnupada Prabhu Sattatra, Trivacharya Ashtotra, Adrinayana Bhaktivedanta Swami, Prabhupada ki Jai. Om Shri Vishnupada, Om Jai Om Vishnupada, Brahma Trivacharya Ashtotra. Shri Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Sri Prabhupada ki Jai. Ananta Kodi Vaishnava ki Jai. Samata Hedasta ki Jai. Venkat Doshi ki Jai. Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Shiva Sadguru Bhakti Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gautam Sham Radha Giri Govardhana ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham ki Jai. Mathura Dham ki Jai. Dwarka Dham ki Jai. Ayodhya Dham ki Jai. Jagannathpuri Dham ki Jai. Mayapur Dham ki Jai. Gangama Yamunama ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Vasudeva ki Jai. Grantha Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Jai. Hare Krishna Mahamandra ki Jai. Purushottam Adhimas ki Jai. Govardhana ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Gaura Premanande. All those who all those who all those who all those who are Ganga, all those Srila Prabhupada, all those Guru Maharaj, Guru Premanande. Govardhanadharam Vande, Gopalam Goparupinam, Gokulolsavam Ishana, Govindam Gopika Priyam, Govardhanadharam Vande, Gopalam Goparupinam, Gokulolsavam Ishana, Govindam Gopika Priyam, Govardhanadharam Vande, Gopalam Goparupinam, Govindam Gopika Priyam, Vande Navaganashyamam, Vibhujam Muralidharam, Pidambaradaram Devam, Sharadam Purushottamam, Vande Navaganashyamam, Vibhujam Muralidharam, Pidambaradaram Devam, Sharadam Purushottamam, Vande Navaganashyamam, Vibhujam Muralidharam, Pidambaradaram Devam, Sharadam Purushottamam. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha, Urdhamulamudashakam, Ashwatam Prabhuravyayam, Chandasi Yasya Varnani, Yastam Veda Savedavid, Adashottam Prasita Sastisakara, Guna Pravanta Vishaya Pravara, Adasya Mulani Santani, Karmani Bandini Manishaloke, Narupasya Tatopalabhyate, Nandona Chadirna Chasampadisa, Ashwatthamenam Subirudhamulam, Asanga Shastrena Dridena Jitva, Tadapadam Tat Parimargyavyam, Yasmin Gadana Nivartanti Bhuya, Tameva Chadyam Purusham Pravatye, Yada Pravati Prasita Purani, Nirmana Moha Jita Sangadosha, Adhyatma Nitya Vinivrittakama, Dvande Vimukta Sukha Dukkha Sanje, Yachanda Mudha Padamavyamda, Natad Vasayate Suryo, Nashashango Nabhavagaha, Yadgatwana Vivartante, Vardama Paramam Mama, Mama Vamso Jivaloke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha, Manashashtani Indriyani, Prakritistani Karshadi, Shariram Yadavapnoti, Yachavyukramadishvaraha, Yagitaitani Samyadi, Vayurgandhani Vashaya, Shotram Chakshuspashanam cha, Vyasanam Pranamevacha, अधिष्ठाय मनश्चायम् विषयानुपसेवते उत्क्रामन्तं स्थितं वापि भूज्ञानं वा गुणान्वितं विमूढानानुपश्यन्ति पश्यन्ति ज्ञानचक्षुषः यतन्तो योगिनश्चैनं पश्यन्त्यात्मन्यवस्थितं यतन्तोऽप्यकृतात्मानो नैनं पश्यन्त्य चेतसा यदादित्यगतं तेजो जगद्भासयदेखिलम् यच्चन्द्रमसि यच्चाग्नो तत्तेजो विद्धि मामकम् गामाविश्य च भूतानि धारयाम्याहमोजसा पुष्णामि चौषधी सर्वा सोमभूत्वा रसात्मकः अहं वैश्वानरो भूत्वा प्राणिनां देहमाश्रितः प्राणापानसमायुक्ता पञ्चान्यं चतुर्विधम् सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टो मत्ता स्मृतिज्ञानमहोपनं च वेदैश्च सर्वैरहमेव वेद्यो वेदान्तकृद्वेदविदेकचाः द्वाविमौ पुरुषौ लोके शरच्चक्षर एव च क्षरः सर्वाणि भूतानि गूढस्थोऽक्षर उच्यते उत्तमः पुरुषस्तन्या परमात्मेत्युदाहृतः यो लोकत्रयमाविश्य विभक्तव्यय ईश्वरः यस्मात्सर्वगीतोऽहम् अक्षरादपि चोत्तमः अदोऽस्मि लोके वेदे च प्रथिता पुरुषोत्तमः यो मामेव सम्मूढो जानाति पुरुषोत्तमम् स सर्वविद्भजति माम् सर्वभावेन भारत इति गुह्यतमं शास्त्रम् इदमुक्तं मया नघ एतद्बुद्ध्वा बुद्धिमान् स्यात् कृतकृत्यश्च भारत
इति श्रीमद् भगवद्गीता उपनिषत् ब्रह्म विद्यां योगशास्त्रे कृष्णार्जुनसंवादे पुरुषोत्तमे
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Hare Krishna. So here today in this Purushottam auspicious month, Anil Prabhu's and Kirti Mataji's house. Karthik. Anugraha. Karthik and Anugraha. We are thus we have get an opportunity to show the Supreme Lord the Gila and Arati, and we read the Bhagavad Chaurashtakam and also the Bhagavad Gita 15th chapter for then we have to pray to the Supreme Lord for giving them all spiritual progress in the future. And so we have to pray the all who are participate here, present here. Also, we have to pray the Supreme Lord for their spiritual progress. Also, we have to chant Hare Krishna mantra 3 times. The Supreme Lord.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for wonderful program. Tomorrow we'll have His Grace Rajeshwara Gauda Prabhu with Bhagavatam class at 7 o'clock. Please join. And
Prabhuji, one more announcement here.
Hmm.
And today is the spiritual birthday of 1 year initiation of Harishra Mataji's birthday. So we are cutting a cake here.
Oh, very good.
And so we are distributing the new beads to this Kirti Mataji and Anil Prabhu.
Anil Prabhu, very good, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. So we will all pray to Lord Krishna to give more and more opportunities and serving devotees and their spiritual progress. Hare Shri Mataji. Also, we will chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra 3 times. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. And also very sad news that our Kuwait Amir is left his body. So by his open-minded, we people are all having these opportunities to continue our programs and all other activities. So we will all pray to the departed soul by chanting 3 times Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Please.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Rama, Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Namaskar Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, I would request you to also